Okay, hello everyone. Yes, I am Mr. Ronan, but I am also a little bastard simp for Vanguard. And the patch notes for the DNF Duel Grand Update have just been released, and needless to say, I am extremely excited to play this game. I couldn't actually find when this patch is going to come out, but just by reading the notes, I don't care. As long as I get a chance to play this version of the game and these versions of the characters, I don't care how long I have to wait. I imagine it'll be like tomorrow or something very soon, but oh my god. I am so excited. So I have the patch notes open in Chrome here. We're not going to go over the universal changes, and yes, I will look at the rest of the characters afterwards, but as a little Vanguard simp, of course I'm going to skip straight to my character, straight to the juicy stuff. I'm selfish, just like all fighting game players. I want to know what happens to my characters. And I will be honest, I wasn't patient enough, but I did read it before I started this video. Oh, it's so cool. Okay, so obviously we've got the regular stuff, so they've increased everyone's HP and guard gauge, basically. Vanguard's is by a pretty average amount. I think most people increased by 100 or 200, so his HP is just a little bit higher. His guard gauge is actually quite a decent amount higher, which is good because he was always kind of, not too good on defense, so now he can survive longer on defense. And they also boosted his awakening effect, which if you're not aware, you should be aware if you play Vanguard. But basically, he was the character who, when he's in awakening, he super drains your guard gauge really quickly. So if you block too much for too long, your guard gauge is pretty quickly going to break. And if you get the right kind of hit and sequence, it's basically impossible to get out of a guard break. So that was his thing, but it was pretty hard to get off, and a lot of characters were a lot better at it, even when they weren't in their awakening. Like Striker could just do it for fun whenever she had meter, and other characters could just do it way better than him. So now they've added extra things to it, where I imagine added attack increase just means like bonus damage. So he'll do more damage, more guard damage, and now he's a bit like Launcher, and he does more chip damage as well. So when he goes into his awakened mode, whenever he has low life, you better get the hell away. You already kind of have to because all of his buttons are like full screen, but somehow you better just not block against this character. You better roll, you better throw, do DPs, because you do not want to block. Because if he has more damage and more chip damage, not only will your guard break in like one sequence, but he will also do tons of chip damage, tons of damage when he opens you up due to the increased damage, and he's obviously in awakening mode, so he'll be able to do an ultimate at the end of his combo, so you'll probably just die. So don't block against him when he's in awakening. And this is just the small stuff that like basically everyone got. Now we get into the real juicy things. Okay, this is a bit boring as well. He just has a reduced hurtbox when he's crouching. This happened to a few of the bigger characters like Hitman and Crusader. It's just so they're not that big when they're crouching, so they can actually go onto some crouchable things now. And here's where we get spicy. So the first change to his actual buttons reduced the recovery of standard B, so that's just his regular slash down, and it can connect against knocked down opponents. So this can hit people in a hard knockdown now, which makes sense. It's kind of the attack that would be able to hit them, like based off every other character that has things can hit the hard knockdown. This is the kind of attack that would hit them, but for Vanguard, for some reason, that just wasn't the case. So now, anytime you get a hard knockdown, you'll just be able to go like this, and it'll actually combo. That is so crazy, especially when you consider the amount of hard knockdowns that you get with Vanguard, like including this in the corner. Well, now I can just go like that, and that'll be an actual combo, because you can do that with like his other things like that. Oh, don't know how I missed that. But this hard knockdown, he can get combos off them. What's going on here? So if he can just do it for free, whenever he gets a hard knockdown using this, and just go B, crouching B, just to get more damage at any point during his combos, that is so crazy. Off of random hits, now, it's spoilers, but they have buffed this as well. So now whenever you get that, you can just get like these hard knockdowns, or say if you've ended your combos in it, you can just actually extend it with this. That is so cool and so crazy that he can get meterless OTGs now, because he used to always have to either use meter or be good at doing the instant dash up jump S, which for some people was a little bit difficult, especially at certain distances when you get this. Sometimes it's a little hard to get that from certain distances. Vanguard players can probably do it pretty well, but people trying to try out the character for new probably find that a bit difficult. So now that he can get that for free is so crazy. So crazy. And obviously they reduced the recovery, which is good because his B normals were quite yikes when it comes to recovery. So like, I'm holding the block button, and yeah, he has to like fully reel that thing back before he can block. So it stays out for ages, and then he has to reel back, and it just had so much recovery. So you did not want to whiff these. So this button, which was already great at what it does, which, you know, covers a lot of space and covers a ton of aerial space. If the opponent is trying to jump near you or even jump over you because it has that massive, it just goes like completely over his head. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but like it completely covers him because it's such a ridiculously huge button. Now it has reduced recovery and can actually OTG. And the reduced recovery thing is something I find interesting because it applies to basically every single thing that he has in here, like everything that they change. They basically reduce the recovery, reduce recovery, reduce the recovery for everything. And reducing the recovery in patch notes is a very, very curious thing. And there's a lot of nuance in what that can mean. So for example, it could just mean that it is slightly safer. So maybe you're slightly less likely to get punished if you just do it on its own. Or maybe it can mean it's like completely safe. So now it's like -5 or something for any move. When they reduce the recovery, that could just mean it's better on block, you're less likely to get punished. It could also mean that it's reduced enough that it's plus on block. That happened to a few characters in the Strive update that we just had. They reduced the recovery of moves, and it's actually reduced so much, and the hit stun is still the same, that it becomes plus on block. That is obviously not going to be the case with these Vanguard normals. But then the next thing is that the reduced recovery can also mean that things get more combos off of them. And I'm just really curious as to what that's going to mean for some of these. Because some of these things, like, we'll get to this soon, but the Inferno charge has a reduced recovery, and does that mean it's reduced enough to be, like, plus on block? Or can you, like, get combos off of it now? Because, like with Ino in the recent Strive patch, she got reduced recovery on her dive kicks. And for me, that just meant, when I read it, that she's just going to be slightly safer, maybe won't get punished if she doesn't do the hop afterwards. But it actually meant that she can actually get free combos off of it, and if in the right spacing, she can get a close slash. So I'm wondering which of Vanguard's reduced recovery, because they don't tell you by how much, but what reduced recovery actually means for Vanguard in most of these situations. Because like with the Inferno charge on, what if that meant I can get a crouching thing and that actually combos? Wait, did that actually just combo then? I did not know this. Okay, well I suppose that does combo. Then maybe it'll combo mid-screen or something. Wow, we're learning things as we go. Maybe I can combo it like this. But yeah. Reduced recovery, and especially for normals like these, which have a ridiculous amount of recovery so far, it is like well into double-digit territory. It is ginormous. You cannot whiff these normals. Any change other than like something ginormous probably won't be noticeable. So I'm really curious as to how much they will actually get changed. Because if they just make it like, what, 5 frames less recovery, you're not going to notice. You're still going to get absolutely demolished if you accidentally whiff these buttons. So I'm curious if they're actually going to let him make these like kind of safe in neutral, and if they do, that is pretty ridiculous. But it's a ridiculous game, so I don't know. We'll just see where they go with that. I might need to hurry up, but this will be like 3 hours long. His crouching B is basically the same, they just reduce the recovery, and that's what I was just talking about. But yeah, crouching B has even more ridiculous amount of recovery than his standing B. It's a great button with ginormous range. I'm not trying to downplay this character at all. But his B buttons do have an absurd amount of recovery compared to like anything else in this game. I'm surprised they didn't actually change his crouching A. That's the one complaint I have about his changes, because now he still has really bad mashing buttons. Like he can't mash out of things very well. It has really crappy range. It can't be mashed on like Dragon Knights or whatever, where they can just go blah, 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 and it has really slow recovery. Look at this thing. And it's also slow. So that's a little bit sad, but whatever, we're moving on. There's a lot of cool stuff to make up for it. Okay, and then, so his Bs reduce the recovery, and his standing one can hit hard knockdown opponent. Crazy, love that. This one is actually kind of interesting. His down special says it can now be jump cancelled, but the curious thing is it could already be jump cancelled, and that was kind of like a big part of his combo pathing anyways. So I'm wondering if they mean it can be jump cancelled on block, because that would be an interesting change to his pressure, because now whenever he's going for his chains of these things, he didn't really have anything too scary. He kind of just delayed things to try and, fish for the opponent to try and press buttons. Or maybe like if you can delay and like they're being patient enough, you can kind of like reset them into themselves and like keep looping them to get some more guard damaging stuff. But If he can do stuff where he can jump cancel this on block now, which is I assume is what it means because it can already be jump canceled, and why would they put that in the notes if it can already be done? If I can jump cancel this on and do stuff like that, and that's part of my pressure now, look how much guard gauge that does. And if you ignore the fact that I used a conversion that he can just do anytime, or like maybe I can even do stuff like this. And if they try to anti-am me, maybe I could do stuff like this, where I use my, where I use my MS, because they've buffed that now as well. And that kind of beats people going for anti-airs because it hits like instantly and picks people up. So that could be really good. I'm just really curious as to that means if it can be on block. Because if it is, that is so cool. Because now that just makes his S strings even more scary. Because whenever he can go for this, he can just jump cancel and completely reset them into however he likes. Of course, there's going to be some mind games around it. I don't imagine he'll have airtight, infinite offense. But that sounds really, really awesome to me. Nice combo, by the way. Okay, what's next? Brandish. Okay, so this is talking about how when he goes for his standing MS, he can cancel into all the follow-ups even on whiff without having to do the first hit. So obviously, as you know, when he does his standing MS, he does these 2 strikes and you can go into the follow-up. You can even go into the follow-ups after the first strike, but now he can go into them without even doing the first strike. And it'll cost the same amount of meter, so see how I have to spend the meter twice? We saw this in the trailer as well. He can just spend both of the meters even before the first hit comes out, and you just get this like big strike, and it costs that large amount of meter. So this is super, super strong. I'm not trying to downplay, but it is still an expensive option for him to go for. So it's not like he can just like do these in neutral now. Now he just has tons of special moves. It is like an expensive way of going for these specialty kind of special moves he has now, which they are cool, and it'll actually give them a lot more use for their special properties they have. Like for example, his Inferno charge afterwards is projectile immune, but it was like effectively completely useless because when are you gonna hit a projectile while you're attacking them? Like they're not gonna throw projectiles while you're going for your staggers or whatever. It just didn't really make sense. So now, if you think a projectile is coming, he can just like cancel straight into this attack and like go through it. And it has a decent range. It can connect like from about this far away. So if I can like zoom in, I'm kind of like a, not launcher, striker. How she has like the mountain push, whatever that is. And I can just dash in from this distance. And if this has the increased hit stun like it says it does, where I can actually combo off of it now, I can just punish people for going for projectiles a lot more easily. And this is actually his cheapest follow-up. So even though you do spend the meter twice, it still only costs you 40 in total. So that is pretty good for a projectile immune special move, and that will make him so much stronger against characters that he really, really hated fighting. Or I guess everyone hates fighting them, but like Ranger and Launcher and characters with tons of things they can throw all over the screen, being able to just blast through that is going to be super, super strong for him, especially if you can get combos from it. And then the biggest, coolest one, I think, obviously, is going to be being able to go into his back MS off of his standing MS. I don't remember what's this called because I never really used it. It was kind of, in this version of the game, kind of like a bait. So you kind of go into the stuff, you have your delays, and if you think the opponent's going to match, you can go for this, and if they get hit by it, you get a big, big juicy combo because it gets a counter hit, it puts them in a crumple state, it does a bunch of damage. You get a ton of damage if you land this on counter hit. And it was armored, which is the point. So if they try to DP or press buttons or anything, you would completely demolish them. But now, that completely amazing, super strong thing that used to be pretty situational, he can just do whenever, and it will cost him quite a bit. Actually, not that much at all, only 50? Okay, that's gonna be so scary. So now he has the option of going for this like full screen, how far does this go? Yeah, it hits from like this distance, even if we don't hit the first thing. So he's got this armored, like full screen special move where if it ever hits as a counter hit, can I force counter hit here? Counter, yes. Force a counter. Oh, but that doesn't really work still. Anyways, if it's a counter hit, it goes into a crumple state. So I can get a combo from full screen. If the opponent tries to do a projectile, tries to press a button, tries to set up a trap or something, I can just absolutely swipe my massive ass back armored special and just completely demolish them. And if they're in a crumple state, I can run up, get a combo. That is going to be so strong. Obviously, it's going to make his Oki a lot stronger as well, because if I ever get like a hard knockdown in the corner, I can just stand like around this distance and go for it on wake up. And if they DP or go for anything, even if I'm like just slightly out of throw range, it'll beat any kind of DP or mashing. And if they get hit, I'll get a massive, massive corner combo. This, I think, is going to be the biggest change for Vanguard. Having armor on demand for only 50 meter is so strong. And including the fact that it's like a full screen armor attack that leads to massive damage. Oh my god, you have no idea how excited I am to abuse this. It's going to be crazy, crazy. I can't wait. And yeah, I think that's basically all I have to say about these. Obviously, he also has the option for going for the forwards and downwards ones, but I don't see too much use for that. Obviously, like he has giant buttons already, so I don't see why you would need to go for this like expensive, really long range thing. Yeah, it's just going to be a like basically his longest reaching poke if you go for this, because it is ginormous. It's practically full screen. So if you do really want to hit something, you can go for that, or you can go for this overhead, but I don't imagine that's going to happen too much. Maybe it'll be better for mix-ups, because if you can go standing A and instead of going into the low, you could go and imagine you can just go that and then go into an overhead instead. That could be interesting. Like, but yeah, we can't really show that too well. But he might have some more mix that way. I'm intrigued. This is the biggest change for Vanguard by far, and I'm just excited to mash on my full screen armor. Okay, what's the next change? The next change is basically just reduce recovery on a lot of his special moves. So his Inferno Charge, reduce recovery, so that might mean he can combo off of it more easily. We just saw that he can combo off of it with a crouching A, but maybe he can now combo off of it with a standing A, or even a standing B would be ridiculous. And now when he goes through projectiles, he might actually get a bit of reward for it. And reduce startup for invulnerability against projectiles. It was already pretty quick, I believe. I didn't use it too much, but I believe it was only like 4 or 5 frames. So if it's like 2 or 1, that's crazy. Just straight through the projectiles whenever you want. It will be a little bit slow though, because there's a little bit of frames in between canceling the first hit into the follow-ups. So it won't be instant. The Behead, that's what it's called. So this is his massive armor strike, has reduced recovery. So maybe it'll, I don't know, be safer or plus, I don't know, and it'll make it easier for him to get combos. If he gets the massive counter hit from full screen, he can dash up faster and go for his jump S and get some ridiculous damage more easily. I don't know. And yeah, so reduce recovery on those. And now we go for his regular special move. So Earth Shatter is his 6 MS, one of his staple special moves. Good combo ender and good neutral tool. Now he can, well, he has reduced recovery on it, which, I don't know, like I said, that could mean, I don't think it'll be plus on block, maybe it'll just be like less minus, he might be able to sneak out some buttons. It was already really good at that, because a lot of the time when you did this like in a block string, people try and dash up, and a lot of Vanguard players just go for their S's, and the opponent just like accidentally completely dashes into it, and then you just get a free S combo, and that was already really good, so maybe he'll just be able to do stuff like that more easily, or even just like go in for a sweep, so if the opponent tries to dash out or anything, he can just go for a sweep, depending on how close you are. They try to do something and you just hit them out because there's less recovery. And there's more juicy stuff, I promise. So the second hit just has expanded knockback range. Oh, I thought it was an expanded hitbox, but I suppose it just pushes the opponent further away, which is interesting because it already pushes them very far away, like a quarter step from full screen. So I don't know. Maybe just has like a larger fly time, the opponent's launched in the air for longer, and that might apply to this, what's coming up here, wall bounces upon the second hit. And we saw this in the trailer. Whew, this is gonna be a spicy change. So his like biggest poke, his like fast thing that just like covers the whole screen from like about mid-range, it covers high, covers low, hits people OTG, and leads to some pretty decent OP. Now starts combos as well. It's not just a combo ender, it's a combo extender. So I don't even know how I'm gonna end my combos if everything's just gonna extend them. I have to choose to end them at some point. But yeah, this will now bounce the opponent off the wall, and this is what I imagine they want the extra like pushback on the second hit for. So maybe if I hit it like over here, he'll fly so far that he actually like bounces off of the wall over here and like bounces back a little bit. And imagine if I can like get a crouching B after they bounce from all the way over here. If I can do something like this, they're so far away and he bounces off the wall, I get a crouching B and get to go for it again. Imagine the potential that is coming for Vanguard. It's gonna be crazy. But you know, obviously this being a wall bounce is just gonna lead to more combo potential. So when I do stuff like, I don't know, just like literally any combo the Vanguard does, like if I get a hard knockdown or something, if I end what usually would have been the end of my combo and I can just get another 5B, 2B, like that into that and just get more damage at the end of any of my combos, that is gonna be so good. And also you can probably choose to just use it to go for better Oki, because now it's already pretty good Oki. Like you can go for a back MS, a back S, and it's like hits really, really meaty and beats DPs and stuff. So maybe if it bounces the opponent off of the wall, you have the ability to like more easily like dash in, get jump S or whatever, like jump over DPs. If it bounces the opponent off the wall, I imagine it'll leave you pretty close to them, like because they'll bounce off, be right in front of you. You can have some like mix-ups if you want to use it to end your combos. I'm really, really excited. And if the opponent doesn't use the block button, that could lead to some interesting cross-ups. If they're bouncing off the wall and you're jumping towards them, you can't tell what side they're on. That could be pretty cool, but obviously combo potential is combo potential. And like, just imagine, like now this, like his cheapest special move basically, can just be used to extend combos, and it's his like most easily, it combos off of everything. So now something like this can just lead into combos, and I'm sure they can be way more optimal than this. And like that will bounce the opponent as well. Like what? That is such a ridiculous change. I cannot wait to see how it actually works and like how much combo potential he gets from it. It's already ridiculous just reading it. Now Devastate, which is his 4MS, where he does this big swish, 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 and then a big slash at the end. They've basically made it a better anti-air. So they've reduced the recovery. Once again, I don't know what this means because we don't know how much. For this one, I think it could actually be feasible that it'll be plus on block, because it is kind of that sort of special move where it would make sense to be plus on block. And yeah, making it a better anti-air, they basically made it a 6P. So they removed the upper hurt box, upper body hurt box. So I imagine it'll be like from his knees down where his hurt box is. So he's got a 6P now in DNF Duel, where 6Ps do not exist. And they also did some other things to make it even better when it's on hit. So it has reduced startup of the last hit, so the last thing hits higher, so the opponent won't fall as much, so they'll be higher in the air. And also the last launch hits them, launches them higher in the air. It hits them faster, so they will be higher when they get hit. So they're gonna get launched a lot higher. There's an expanded hitbox. Also, I thought this was ridiculous, and I'll show you why. They increased the hit stun of the last hit, increased the guard back of the last hit. So they basically buffed everything about this special move. It has reduced recovery, maybe it's plus on block. It's basically a 6P now. It hits faster, has bigger hitboxes, increased guard stun, launches the opponent higher. Oh, this is gonna be a scary special move now, I believe. So it was obvious that they kind of already wanted this to be a 6P like special move, or at least a good anti-air, because it has this massive hitbox that goes like all around his head, in front and behind him, and like the opponent can't cross him up or do anything. So it kind of is just like get out of my skies move. But now that he doesn't have an upper body hurt box, it'll be way better at that. And with the extra, like launching the opponent higher and stuff, I imagine you'll be able to get combos like even on grounded people a lot more easily. He can now, but it's a little bit difficult. And maybe if I use lights or something. Yeah. So I imagine it'll be easier. Maybe you can even get like standing S if the opponent is airborne. You'll be able to like snipe them with that and get some better combos. I don't know. But what I thought was an interesting change is that the last hit has a bigger hitbox. Have you seen this last hit? I don't know if people have used this move too much and know too much about its hitboxes, but look at this. This is like full screen. Like very close to full screen after my anti-air. So now this is like a cover all option. If it is plus on block, I get to go for this like 6P anti-air combo starting special move. And if they end up not jumping, well then afterwards it just has a follow-up that is like full screen, now launches the opponent higher, probably might be plus on block. Like this is just gonna be the special move that does it all. And like it's like a, what do you call them? It's like a fake read, where it just covers all options. If I think they're gonna jump, I can go for this, but even if they don't jump, it just works. It's like an automatic OS, where it doesn't matter if they jump or not, I can just win either way. It's gonna be so scary. Look at this hitbox, and it's gonna be even bigger, so it's just gonna basically hit from here. So I can just do my anti-air from anywhere. If they jump, they get absolutely sniped out. If they don't jump and they're trying to press ground buttons, they're probably gonna get hit by the follow-up. And even if they block, maybe it's plus on block. And the last hit now has more guard stun and launches the opponent higher, so I'll be able to maybe get combos even mid-screen. I'm just like literally everything of these other changes that I've already said. I'm so excited to see how much all of these effects actually are and how much this affects his game plan. Oh my god, all of these changes are so exciting. Now all of his special moves are not only useful, they're hella useful. They have so many uses now. It's crazy. Now this is one. His lunge strike, his DP expanded the hitbox, which is what everyone was asking for. But knowing Arx's balance, imagine if they just like buffed the upwards hitbox, it now hits opponents higher. Imagine if he like aims up higher now and it has like a larger hit. No, I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like that wouldn't be too unlikely to happen. But yeah, I think it might be a little bit too wishful thinking to hope that this hits an opponent that is crouching now. I don't think they would change it that much, because I think that's kind of the point of it, is that it can't be jumped over too easily. Like some other DPs, you can jump over and get like jumps on them, like Hitman and stuff. And his is the one that you can crouch under. And hopefully it'll hit crouchers. That would be absolutely amazing. I would not complain at all, but I don't think they would change it that much. I think now it'll just hit opponents who are standing. So, you know, characters like Dragon Knight and Enchantress and basically all of the women characters who are just a slight bit smaller, they just didn't get hit by this, like ever. They like have to jump perfectly into its hitbox in order to get hit by it, and that was the only time it would ever hit. Hopefully now it might actually hit people. That would be great. Like for example, Dragon Knight, she can just run up and grab Vanguard for free on Oki whenever she wants, because Vanguard's DP will just whiff against her going for a grab, and then she gets to get a ginormous punish because she recovers for him. So she gets to get like a whiff punish for going for a grab and it missing on Oki. How ridiculous is that? So hopefully stuff like that just won't exist anymore, and it'll be a little bit more useful as to what it was actually meant to be useful for. That would be lovely. But yeah, I'm not holding out on hoping that it actually hits crouches, because I think that's a bit unlikely. And then his aerial MS is basically just better. So it has a larger hitbox at the first hit, which was already pretty good, but maybe it'll be easier to do an instant air one and hit crouching people. And it might go a little bit more forwards as well. Increase the block stun of the first hit, because there was a gap in between. This used to never really apply because people didn't use this too much on block, but you can like mash in between the two hits, so you probably can't do that anymore. And it can be dash cancelled when it hits, which is interesting, and that's definitely not an I expected. But as you can see, it already has a pretty great hitbox. The only thing that is it doesn't have kind of the horizontal range of most of his attacks. Like even his jump-ins have ridiculous horizontal range. Obviously horizontal and just range in general is his thing, so maybe this will be more like all of his other buttons that cover like half the entire screen. But yeah, as you can see, it already hits crouchers, so it was already pretty good at that. You just had to be quite close. And now if it can be dash cancelled, I don't know, I guess you just get more corner carry. It didn't push the opponent very far away, so I don't know why you would need it to be dash cancelled. Like even after like combos, you were left pretty close. So maybe now after you do it, the dash cancel means you can like get some corner carry and like go for stuff like this. And then after you dash cancel, you can actually go for your stand B now that they're OTGs. So I imagine he can just get like a lot more corner carry to get the opponent to the corner a lot easier now. If I can like dash cancel and then still get my combo going with my standing B and stuff, and then I get a corner combo just for getting this like anywhere, that could be really, really cool. But yeah, what this change actually entails, I'm not too sure yet, but it could be really, really cool. But having it just have a better hitbox and they removed the gap in between means that this is better at what it's better at what it's meant to do, which is kind of be like it covers basically all the options that his regular buttons don't cover. So it's plus on block, it like is a good air to air. It hits people out of the air really, really well. Even if they're somehow higher than him, it like swipes up super high. And it can also catch people off the ground. And it's like obviously an instant aerial option, so it can be grabs and stuff. But it was also plus on block. So if the opponent was expecting you to do something and you can like conversion, go into this in the air, and then that's kind of cool. And if you combine that with the fact that this might be jump cancelable on block now, that just leads to some awesome possible pressure that he might have. So if the opponent is blocking, oops, and I can jump cancel this. Imagine I can go like this and then go for 2 overheads. I'm still plus on block. His pressure potential is going to be through the sky, but I haven't looked at all of the patch notes for other characters yet, but from what I've seen, it's going to be like that for most characters. But in that situation, I could have gone for standing B, continue that combo. It's hard to say who's going to be eating well after this patch or who's going to be eating the most or get the most out of this patch because everyone gets so much. But it's safe to say that Vanguard got a lot and he got a lot of things that he's really, really going to need and really, really going to abuse. So I can't wait to see. I just can't wait to play it. I want to shut up. I want to play with these buffs right now. I wish to stop speculating. I want to abuse my ridiculous full screen armor, my ridiculous full screen anti-air, maybe plus on block, my combo starting combo ender that's like hits half of the screen and now bounces the opponent off of the wall, my like projectile immune thing that I can just dash in from anywhere, my OTG standing B, my possibly safer B normals that like you don't get you punished from hitting them wherever, my jump cancelable S that leads to crazy pressure. I want to try this stuff out and I cannot wait. And if you're a Vanguard player, I'm sure this is the break you've been waiting for. And this, screw all these stupid Christmas movies that Netflix keep putting out about love and stuff. This is the true Christmas miracle. This is the love that you need at Christmas. The love for your main in a fighting game is what gets you through the year. I'm gonna shut up and, I don't know, I guess go to sleep and wait for this patch to come out, then I'll wake up. And yeah, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you there. Bye.